this is about children and hope and the future. It is a vision seen through the prism of youth. And it is about a woman who came halfway around the world, from Egypt to California, to help nurture that vision. Mrs. Anwar Sadat, widow of the recipient of the 1982 Nobel Peace Prize. On a bright winter day in California, Mrs. Sadat met with boys and girls from many parts of America. Together, they shared their dreams of a very different kind of world.
Imagine no possession. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. I hope someday you join us, and the world will live as one.
I guess we came here from just about everywhere. There are kids here from all over the country.
I'm from Boston, Massachusetts.
And I'm from Denver, Colorado. Durham in Connecticut.
I live in Tiburon.
I'm from Oakland, California.
I'm from Denver, Colorado.
I'm from Napa, California.
I was born in Bangkok, Thailand.
There's this guy that got the idea that maybe grown-ups, maybe even world leaders could learn something about peace from children. So he invited us over here to meet Mrs. Sadat and speak with her about ways to get rid of war.
His name was Dr. Gerald Jampolsky.
During the many years that I've worked with children, one of the most exciting experiences I've had is seeing children as my teacher. Children have a fresh, very creative view of the world. Through them, we can rediscover some very important things that have been lost to the adult mind. That's why these boys and girls were asked to come to California, along with the Colorado Children's Chorale. Now they are meeting one another for the very first time.
Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself one of the family. We've taken to you so strong. It's clear we're going to get along. Consider yourself. Consider yourself. We don't have no cause. For after some consideration, we can say, consider yourself one of us.
Can you hear my heartbeat? Do you like the sound?
That freedom and openness comes naturally to children, and they are just as exuberant in expressing their thoughts when we ask our children about peace. We find that they are natural peacemakers of the world. Before coming here, many of them wrote about peace and war. Some of them even drew their vision of a world without conflict.
Peace is a friendship dance that everyone holds hands in.
Found an answer. We know just what we need.
Peace is people talking together with a heart in between them.
Love will be the seed.
Peace is trees, not stumps.
It's the meadow of soft green grass, the animals out of danger, waterfalls flowing, and you knowing that the world is safe. No war, no killing the animals or anything.
Dreaming, this dream must come true. If we make room for love here, there'll be room for you.
What's the use of it? It's not going to help us any. If we turn this Earth into a big ball of nuclear mush, it's not going to help us any.
I think the reason why we have all this and all wars because people just have big egos and they want more and more. Why are they so selfish?
See, it's just kind of crazy when there's alternate solutions to the problem instead of okay, let's go out there and fight, you know, let's shoot everybody up.
I think life is a special thing, and it shouldn't be wasted on war, because life is short enough without being blown up.
I don't see how anyone could feel good about killing someone.
Why do we have to be bigger than Russia? We already could blow up the world so many times over.
Why do people make nuclear bombs? If it's going to blow up the whole world, they're going to be dead too.
The leaders and stuff, they're not worrying. They don't want to be blown up. I think they should think about the kids. They don't want to be blown up either.
All the leaders are usually old and they've lived a long time.
You don't win with killing someone else. That's not the way things are meant to be. And I think there could be other ways to solve problems besides killing each other. I mean, that's pretty preposterous.
Peace is something that we should all have.
Without peace,
I believe that these children would have been understood perfectly by Mr. Anwar Sadat, a man of peace whose life was sacrificed through an act of violence. Perhaps that's why Mrs. Sadat agreed to make her first public appearance since her husband's assassination with these boys and girls. As the widow of the recipient of the Nobel Prize for Peace, and as a humanitarian in her own right, she will help carry these messages to world leaders.
Well, that's why Mrs. Sadat is coming, to make more people think about peace.
Well, what do you think she'll be like?
Slim white woman with a necklace, like a gold necklace. Something like that.
Maybe like Cleopatra. I mean, she's from Egypt.
I thought she was going to have a whole bunch of jewels and crowns and all that kind of stuff.
You feel sort of close to her, like you've known her all her life.
I don't really want to ask this question. It might make you feel bad, but how did you cope with your husband's death?
It was so difficult for me and for my children, but he lived for peace, and he died for his principles. This is a fact. But what makes me feel a little bit comfort that he has done his duty towards peace. And he paved the way for others to continue. This is something, every one of us has a mission in his life.
Peace to me is the love for everybody in the world, not just your neighbor or your friend, just, you know, everybody.
Sure.
And it doesn't matter if they cause the war or not.
Peace is necessary to act in your attitude, in your school, with your neighbors, with your sisters and brothers, with everybody. Not just to say I love peace, but to act for it.
What kind of things do you do with Israel to try to keep peace?
Before my husband visited Israel, we were enemies, fighting each other, killing each other. It was very, very hard.
Have very many of the other Arab nations made peace with Israel yet?
Unfortunately, not yet. But I believe they will follow the good example which Egypt started. And peace will prevail everywhere, as we wish.
What can we as children do to bring about peace?
You can do a lot, because you are the future of the whole world. You are the future of your country here, the same in our country, everywhere. The children are the future. You will be, out of you, leaders in the country, and you have to work on it, not by talking only, but by acting. You can't say, I want peace, and then you beat your neighbor or go and fighting with somebody. You must act what you are saying. You must believe it inside first, and then spread it out of you. Imagine if we could just concentrate on these things instead of just worried about war and waging war with each other or hating each other. Imagine how lovely it would be. Such like paradise.
That's what we tried to imagine, so we wrote about it and drew pictures about it.
Peace is happiness when it rains and when we see a rainbow.
Peace is to stop fighting after many days, weeks, months, or years. Stop shooting people and blowing up buildings and cars and trucks and everything else in sight. Peace is making an agreement after arguing for hours of who gets the car tonight. Peace is to stop beating up your sister because she stole your Superman toilet paper. And she turned off your favorite TV show that you have been waiting to watch all week. And so happy when it comes time to watch it, your sister turns it off.
Peace is without crime and violence, without hatred or corruption. Peace is everything nice, all rolled up into one. Peace is better than all lollipops or ice cream sundaes or all the candy bars in the world. Peace is when you go outside and breathe clean air, and birds chirping will be the sound you can hear instead of cars roaring. Peace is a long time coming, but it will get here.
Peace is knowing that my daddy's home. Peace is when everybody is happy and laughing. Peace is when nobody is fighting. Peace is when your mommy or daddy is hugging you. Peace is when nobody is yelling and shouting. Peace is when you watch TV alone. That apple that is high on a branch on a tree is just out of reach. Yet if we want it bad enough, we will make that extra effort to go in the garage and get a ladder. I feel peace is just like that apple. It's just out of reach. But if we make that extra effort, we can have that apple, the peace.
You know, children used to be thought that children were supposed to be seen and not heard, but the times are really changing, and now people are listening to children. Everybody's really tired because we've been talking with Mrs. Sadat about peace all day. And then there's this meeting tonight with 2,000 grown-ups, and we're supposed to talk to them, too.
Peace is a rainbow above the storm.
Somebody said that Mrs. Sadat's on the way. She must be tired, too, because she came all the way from Egypt. Everyone on the chorus got to put on makeup, even the boys, because they're going to go on stage and sing for Mrs. Sadat.
Peace is being free.
Good evening. Let us give our beautiful welcome to Jahan Sadat.
Dear friends, true peace is not the result of a balance of terror or a tactical pause in the armaments race or a cynical disregard of human needs and aspirations by a strong power. For peace begins not on the negotiation tables, but in the very hearts and minds of children. For they alone can teach us the art of survival. They alone can bring a fresh and unspoiled mind to bear on the realities of the universal human condition. Children can teach us to live together as only they instinctively know how to. Yes, we can learn love and peace and joy from children if we only give ourselves a chance to do so. But first, we must give them the possibility to feel safe enough to be able to teach us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you, and God's mercy and blessings. Thank you.
When people ask you questions about peace, how do you cope with them?
First of all, I love them, because when they talk about peace, this is something which I love very much. Then we can, after that, say, peace is to act. You must, as the young boy said about the apple, and we must pay extra effort to do something for peace. Peace will not prevail unless we do and act for it.
What I would do if I was able to talk to some of the leaders, I would say, you know, fight it over an Atari combat game. Nobody, you know, nobody will die. It's, you know, you just lose the game. And, or, you know, over a video game, Pac-Man or something, whoever wins gets another quarter and gets, you know.
I like to say something to all the children. Don't just think that you're only one child and you can't do everything. Because all the children in the world can add up and they could start something moving. They could start an avalanche, and that avalanche will get the attention of people. And it'll grow bigger, and then it'll finally crush out war.
It's worthwhile seeing you and sitting with you. You can't imagine. This morning, I enjoyed it very, very much. I loved all of you, really, and you made me feel happy. Maybe the first time I felt happy this journey after the last year. It was very hard for me, but I feel I'm not anymore alone at all. I have friends, and to be among you and to attend this conference, really, it's worthwhile to come especially for it, because so many children all over the world will respond to our mission, and they will do for peace, and it will spread everywhere till peace prevail the whole world. Don't you believe in this? Yes?